There was a lot going on in international cricket at that time. There was a lot of tensions between certain countries, which was starting to really boil over on the field, whether that, and I think about South Africa and Australia, I think about India and Australia, like things were really starting to boil over. Whereas the IPL came along at the right time to be able to really take the air out of those situations, because everyone started to get to know one another, which internationally you don't want to know whether the opposition you're playing against is a good bloke or not. You don't want to know that. And that's what I grew up in and around the Australian team as well, is you don't want to know that someone's a good bloke, because that means you might not really put your foot down when you need to against an opposition. Whereas the IPL came along and it really did make, if you weren't playing with someone that you had a bit of a rivalry against on the field and got to know them off the field, so you became friends, one of your good mates that you're playing with the Australian team was playing with one of those guys. So they were able to sort of just take the tensions out of things that were going on from an international cricket perspective. So in that regard, it was a brilliant thing for international cricket. There's obviously, from an Australian perspective, there's a lot of tension around Sourav Ganguly rocking up to the toss in casual clothes late. Right? It's like, who is this guy? He's like disrespecting, the toss and all that sort of stuff, right? So there was a lot of animosity between the Australian players and Sourav Ganguly.
Legendary
right?
animosity.
Right? So then playing the same team together, and then they obviously got to know each other away from the game of cricket and got along. So those sort of rivalries and tensions that had built, well, the IPL just diffused that straight away.
I thought the rivalries that we witnessed before the IPL IPL made, like, the Aussies and Indians, they made them friends. Before that, they were at each other's throats. We remember 2008, just before the start of IPL. So I thought probably you would be coming from that side of the...
Yeah, no, it was what needed to happen, because things that were happening on the field were, like, from an international cricket perspective, weren't ideal. The way things really did boil over at times, and the IPL really was a catalyst to be able to really pull that tension out of the game. Look, there's no doubt that, especially the players that you didn't get to know or one of your mates didn't get to know, those tensions were still on the field. I think about times when I played against India, when I played against other teams internationally, where you didn't know those guys, and so there was no tension taken out of the air. It was going flat out, which is always something that I loved, and that was something that I really enjoyed about playing the game of cricket, where you can push the limit from a survival mode perspective, to be able to bring the best out of yourself and also the opposition you're playing against.